Hello, everyone. SciencePod is a podcast that shines a spotlight on the latest scientific technology from Japan. Your host is Ran from SCIEN-TALK. In this episode, I want to talk about the flower bloomings. Have you ever taken a moment to truly observe the flowers blooming by the roadside? You might have noticed that on a sunny day, they seem to happily face upward towards the sun, but when it rains, they gently bow their heads downwards. This isn't just a coincidence or a sign of weakness. In fact, just like how we humans use umbrellas or seek shelters from the rain, plants are intelligently changing their posture in response to the weather. For plants, having their pollen transported by insects is incredibly vital for producing offsprings. So they need to make their flowers stand out and appeal to insects. However, flowers are also very delicate and vulnerable to rain and wind, especially rain which can wash away or damage crucial pollen. During bad weather, when insects aren't very active, plants also need to protect their valuable pollen. How do plants manage to balance these contradictory needs, the desire to attract and the need to protect? Until now, the significance and the mechanism behind how plants change their flowers' direction according to the weather were not fully understood. But recently, a research group led by the Professor Yokudo from Kyoto University, they focused on a plant called Hakusan Hatasawo from the brassicans family and revealed the secrets of its amazing survival strategy. The plants they studied is a native Japanese plant that produces many small white flowers. Through meticulous observation in the wild, they clearly confirm the phenomenon. On sunny days, the flowers uniformly face the sun's direction, while on rainy days, they face downwards. To unravel the mystery of this phenomenon, the research employed various scientific methods, including field surveys, manipulation experiment, and gene expression analysis. First, they conducted field surveys in the natural population in Takacho, Hyogo Prefecture, to investigate which environmental factors influence the direction of the flowers. Then, using a special experimental device called the growth chamber, which can precisely control environmental factors like light, temperature, and humidity, they narrowed down the environmental factors affecting flower direction. The results showed that during daytime hours, when the temperature is relatively high, the flowers turn toward blue lights. This condition perfectly coincided with the environment where pollinating insects are actively moving. It's as if the flower itself is moving to the best possible meeting spot. So what exactly is happening inside the flowers? On sunny days, flowers face upward because the stem just below the flower, known as a flower stalk, or a pedicel, elongates towards the blue light. This phenomenon is called phototropism, where a plant bends towards the direction of light. Imagine the flower saying cheese and showing its best smile to the sun and the insects maximizing its pollen appeal. The study confirmed that this upward posture promotes pollen carry-out by pollinators, leading to an improved fruit set, meaning more seeds are produced. On the other hand, on rainy days, flowers face downwards because under low temperature and weak blue light conditions, the flower stalk elongates towards the gravity. This is related to a phenomenon called gravitropism, where a plant responds and bends in the direction of gravity. It's like quickly closing an umbrella to protect something precious from the rain. The research also found that when raindrops hit pollen, the pollen rapidly dies. By facing downwards, the plant reduces damage to pollen from raindrops and increase the pollen survival rates. Furthermore, the cellular mechanism behind the change in the flower direction was also elucidated. The study compared the gene expression levels in the upper and the lower halves of the flower stalk and found that a plant hormone called auxin plays a crucial role. Auxin is a hormone that controls the cell elongation in plants. When flowers faced upwards, auxin-related gene expression was higher on the flower side of the flower stalk. And when they faced downwards, auxin-related gene expression was higher on the upper side of the flower stalk. This suggests that by unevenly elongating the cell only on one part of the flower stalk, much like bending the horse by applying the more water pressure to one side, the entire flower changes its direction. With this mechanism clarified, the research group conducted manipulation experiments where they artificially changed the direction of the flowers by exposing them to blue light. The results were remarkable. On the rain, downward-facing flowers had less pollen loss and higher survival rates than upward-facing ones. And in sunny weather, upward-facing flowers showed increased pollen carried out and more seeds than downward-facing ones. These experimental results strongly support that the movement of this plant changing its flower direction according to the weather is not accidental but an active response of the plant and a clever trait for adapting to its environment. From this research, it has become clear that the weather-dependent flower movement of this plant is not simply but the flower following the sun or avoiding rain. Instead, it is a highly sophisticated active tropic response that cleverly achieved the dual purpose of attracting insects and protecting pollen simultaneously. This shows us that even within the small, often overlooked activities of wild plants, there are surprisingly ingenious strategies hidden for organisms to adapt to their environment and ensure their offspring survive. Okay, so that's all for today's Science Spot. This podcast is broadcast daily on weekday morning and in both Japanese and English. I'd love for you to listen to the podcast and post your notes and thoughts with the hashtag ScienceSpot. See you next time.